Greetings and welcome. Thank you for stopping by here on YouTube Live at The Real Bloom From Within Love. I go by Bloomy. Anything that you all need to know about me should be listed in the description box. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who have ever been a part of Bloom From Within Love's platforms. Whether you are new and returning, if you're here in love and light and have been divinely guided and have sent positivity to me and have contributed to me in this channel and what I do in any way, I just want to say I sincerely thank you and appreciate you. And send you guys love and light, and may you be well. Now, what I'm about to discuss is a very unfortunate truth, and it is going in alignment with a lot of what I've been saying in various different readings and discussions the last few weeks, and things that I've shared pertaining to my karmic mother and my karmic sister. And I was hesitant because, we have to still process this stuff. We're still, whether you're a starseed, earth angel or not, whether you're on the conscious ascension path or not, and even when you know some absolutely heinous and hateful truths about a situation, when something does finally hit, it's, when it actually comes to fruition, it still takes us aback a little bit, even though we knew what would happen. And in some cases, it had to happen. And that is the case with my sister and my mother, okay? If you guys have followed any of the other videos, I talked about the past lives with them. I talked about them being karmic, and I talked about them doing black magic that nobody wanted to believe. Nobody wanted to believe that, they were a part of any secret society, that they would even touch black magic, or that they would sacrifice us, or anything like that. And because they, were professing Christians and so forth, and put on a nice act for people, no one would ever believe it. In fact, everyone just thought that I was crazy, and because of what I do, actually everybody scapegoated me and projected all of that stuff onto me, claiming that I was the one worshiping the devil and doing black magic, but it was the other way around. In this case, what ended up happening was they couldn't stop doing the black magic. Now I'm going to tell what happened to my sister first, and then I'll tell what happened to my mom. If I'm guided, I'll do a reading based on their passing, okay? What took place, what led to it, and then what happened when you actually die, when they actually passed, and that whole process and what was revealed and what happens. If I'm guided, I will do that. At first, I wasn't going to do it online. I was just going to do it personally for myself, but it may help those of you who resonate with this kind of path and story, and just to let you know that you're not crazy, and these things do play out this way, and kind of how to process and get through it, because it can be very tempting in these times to slip back into like trauma bonding or to regret certain things. But we have to remember that it's cause and effect, decisions, all of that plays a role. And we're not here to carry on the burdens of others or their actions and their consequences when they have been given sufficient guidance and time to heal or get right, or to cease doing something, or to make something right with someone. All of that catches up with all of us, okay? That's not just what happened in my particular case with my sister and my mom, but this happens to all of us essentially. So I'll start with what happened with my sister first, okay? And try to keep it separate. So in the case of my sister, you guys already know I mentioned that it was a kind of weird dynamic. She was one of my karmics, but she was also my counterpart's karmic. And so everything came to an end. It actually almost happened similar to one of the readings I did, I think, goodness gracious, Lord, but my counterpart knows the truth. Okay, truths have been revealed to him. He's in the process of ascension and healing. But what was revealed to me about what this whole dynamic, my sister, my counterpart was giving my sister money, thinking that she was using money to invest in like things to help him heal because he's sick. Okay, and come to find out, the monies that he was given, she wasn't using it for healing. She was using it to invest in his death. Okay, she had sacrificed him, and so she was death was going to be slow process for him, and then of course when he dies, and I don't know the ins and outs as of yet what she would get. I'm thinking it must be a house because houses keep coming out in these readings, so that if he passed, she would get this house or something to that effect. So he found this out, but he also found out that she was stalking me and so many different things. And so he ended up contacting her, and but he tried to be very careful about it. And she also had money. She was holding money. I don't know whose money. It may be his. It may be mine. She was holding it. She was hiding it. And so he knew that she was obsessed. He had found out all the truth. So he knew she was obsessed with him. He understood she was karmic. He knew that, it would never end. It would never end. So he, and it may not have gone exactly this way, but I did ask my guides. And when I did the reading yesterday, okay, this was yesterday, he contacts her, but not for, it wasn't to ask for anything or to fight. He actually contacted her to say, okay, let's be together and, let's just try to run away and so forth and figure out what we can do, run away and start over, with the money or something to that effect, okay? Because there's something that they're holding and that they're hiding, okay? It could be mine. This could be why it's kind of tied into a lot of karma here, okay? So he knew that if he did that, then this was going to make her day because that's the obsession. Like, okay, I won. At the end of the day, I get to get him and I'm going to get his money because when he dies, I'm going to get the money, I'm going to get the house, and then I get to act like I was the doting wife or whatever, and I was right, and everybody's going to love and adore me, and they're going to hate divine feminine, and they're going to see. And so he knew that that would be her, make her happy, and that she would agree, and bring the monies to him and everything. So she got either the money, the gift, or whatever form this is, and then she went to, I want to say she went to his house. Because he told her to come on through, and that's when they had this discussion. Okay, he probably said like, oh, okay, I realize you're the one, and this is what she's always wanted to hear. It's this past life trauma and this all that stuff in that reading. I invite you guys to look at the past life karma reading with my family. That would resonate. So then once he got whatever that is, whether it was she gave him the money or the gift or whatever that is, once she gave it to him, and I guess he secured that, whether he put it in his pocket or gave it to someone else or put it in a spot, then he just told her the truth because he knows the truth like I know the truth. And we were both disgusted at the thought that, you can just pick apart. You're that far gone, that hateful, that envious, that jealous, to really try to kill somebody and lie to somebody and go through all of that to hurt somebody just to get your way. So he went off, okay? And then So they went back and forth with words. They argued, and it got very ugly. In the argument, she threatened my life. His, when he said it was over and that he didn't want anything else to do with her, and, you know, that he asked her to not chase him, and he said he wouldn't chase her, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it got very ugly. And that's when she, further threatened, that, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill myself, and I'm going to kill Divine Feminine, I'm going to kill, you know, she said something about the spell work, or she's going to beat up, or she's going to get somebody, she's going to pay somebody to kill him and pay somebody to kill me, and she's going to kill herself, and all of that. And so he was angry and upset, and got tired. And I want to say this part because, you know, I can only imagine, people try to make you feel some kind of way. And that's why I did the reading last night. Like, you can't slip into that, you know, that side when you got to remember all the stuff people have done. Like, they're wearing these human jackets, but they took advantage of you. They were evil and heartless and just didn't care. It was all about image and money and winning. And they were willing to dispose of me and my son and anyone else. And, you know, and that's a sickness, and that's not okay. And we have a right to be angry and to voice that veracity, and we have a right to stand up for ourselves. And if something belongs to us, you have a right to be angry about it and take it, and say, hey, no, we're not doing this. I'm not going to be bullied and blackmailed. And when you're under narcissistic abuse for so long, there's that Stockholm syndrome and that trauma bonding and all of that and that conditioning that makes you feel like you don't have a right. And when they do something bad or harmful to themselves, then you're feeling some kind of way, and we should not. We should absolutely not. And I had to say that. I'm like, I know it's tragic, but no, sometimes these things would never stop, because some people, as I said, you guys, they're gone. They will never stop. And what makes it challenging is if they're not admitting it to people around them that don't even believe that it's being done, then people have a tendency to just go, and, just overlook the stuff that's starting to happen in people's lives, or even their very own. So after their exchanges, it got pretty volatile. So he had to call the cops. Okay. He had to call the cops, or I don't know if he had his friend to call the cops, but somebody had to call the cops, because like I said, when the truth came out, when he just told her the truth, and he had already gotten back the money from her or whatever, it just exploded. And that's when she really just and that's what always will happen with the narcissistic dynamics, okay? Especially the more hideous and insidious ones, malignant ones, when it all comes to surface and they can't get their way. And, because they're attached heavily to the 3D, they're attached to the money, the sex, the things, the stat, and they use all these things as control. And when you strip them of that, this is when you're going to see the what's real in their energy to come full force in front. Because now they feel like they're losing control, okay? I don't want to get too far deep into that right now. But that's what happened with my sister. So the cops, because she threatened everything. She threatened to kill him, me, and then her own life, to take her own life, okay? Or to hire people to kill him, hire people to kill me, and to take her own life, okay? Cops came, then they, if I understand correctly, there may be a variance here, because I had to ask my guides about all that, so I may not have all of it exactly in the right order. But the cops came and they did take her in. I guess they did take her in, but then one of my nieces, I want to say, went to pick her up. I want to say Ramia went to pick her up. And then took her back to I want to say took her to, I don't know if Raven has her own house or if Raven lives with somebody, but they went back to Raven's house, and she sat and she talked to, her girls for a while, and she said, she just needed to rest. After they talked for a while, then she said, I just need to relax for a while and rest for a while. I'm gonna take me just a little nap. And I'm not now between that, I think she could have had asked for like a glass of water or a drink or something, maybe, or it may have been right there. And she was like, okay, I'm just gonna relax and just take me a nap. So, but this happened very quickly. So what ended up happening was she took whatever the pills was, whatever this was with her drink, with her, I don't know if it was alcohol, but she took it. But in her mind, because I did do a reading and I asked what was she thinking, when I was alerted that she did that. So I said, what was she thinking, man? So they took me through the process of what she was really thinking. So for her, again, you guys have to understand, okay? My sister was balanced, okay? And so she was actually thinking, she didn't plan her death. She was thinking that she was taking just enough, okay? Because there's ways you can do this. She was thinking that she was going to take just enough for the scare, because they can, if it's not too many pills or if it's not too heavy, okay, or too poisonous, if the ambulance get there quick enough and it's not too much, they can pump you and revive you. They can. I've seen that in TV and in the medical and all of that. And so her hope was that this was going to make everyone feel bad. It was going to make my counterpart feel bad. Everyone was going to be called as, they had to revive her, and she made it. And then, it was going to make my counterpart feel like, sorry for her, and to, not want to leave and to want to give her money or whatever it is she wanted at the house. And my guides said that, that's what she was thinking. But when it was too fast. Okay, I think Ramia was prompted, because I think Ramia saw, I think she was there trying to get her mom or something, and I think she saw and heard some of the things her mom said, and I think for whatever reason, Ramia was prompted that, wait a minute, she said, I overheard something in this fight when all this was going on. She said, one of the things she said was she was going to kill herself. And then I think that's when Ramia could have been alerted. And I think Ramia may have been the one to discover that she, had done that, and that she was gone. I think she was either too frozen, or it was something that kind of happened, and because Ramia was alerted to check, okay? And, they did try to revive her and all that stuff, but my guides, bear with me, you guys, it is heavy, man. My guides, after I did this reading yesterday, because when they first hit me with the alert, I just sat down. And I asked my grandmother, I said, help me. I said, help me to be strong. That was the first thing that I said. I'm like, because you guys just told me what happened, why, what was she thinking, and what was this process? And they actually showed me what happens, okay? So she did, my sister, after she took it and she died, right? She was trying to will herself back up, okay? Because you can see she knew they were, most people don't know what happens. I'm just now starting to find out and learn this stuff, but she knew they were trying to revive her, okay? So she kept trying to will herself back up. But what happened was she was met by, in that state, whatever happens in this part of it, ancestors and guides, and all of that, they're right there. So she was met there, okay? And then I don't know if I should say the rest here or if I should wait into the reading, but there was a process. So when they had to show her what happened, because she had asked why, and they revealed everything and all that was played out. But I don't want to go there now because that's not the point of what I'm saying. Okay. I mentioned in some other readings that some karmics would self-destruct, and that some of it was karmic justice. And I know that's heavy, but when people have reduced themselves back into the black, dark side of this stuff, not all karmics go that far, okay? Not all karmics necessarily, and I needed to say that, but there are some that, yes, absolutely. The more insidious ones, if they're not right in upstairs and they got connected into that arena and become addicted to that type of stuff out of control. My sister had, a lot of people's lives were affected, not just mine, not just the things that you guys hear me talk about. There's a lot of deaths connected to my sister, and it was behind black magic, okay? And people don't know that because some of it comes off as people having accidents out of the blue. It's because there was a sacrifice for lives, okay? And car accidents and people die, and then the rationale is, oh, they're old anyway, they were destined to die. So a lot of people just are not really understanding some of this stuff. And this is what the higher ups, the spirit world, what all you guys hear me talk about all the time, that nothing is a secret, nothing is hidden. Nothing is. Only to one another. So this is why people are able to go about pretending and smiling and tricking each other and so forth, okay? So that's a tragedy, that she just couldn't let it go. And see, this is the stuff we talk about in the readings with karmics and addictions and attachments and narcissism and all of these things. And then, distorted spiritualists and dark witches. She has a witch coven. She's been doing this stuff for a very long time. For a very, very long time. And they were doing high-level spell works on me and my son for a long time, to die and to get sick. And as well as my counterpart, okay? And as well as my work and my business. She had stolen things from me pertaining to my work. She had done a lot of things pertaining to Bloom from Within Love. And all of this stuff that just came to, to surface. And my counterpart knows about it. This is a case and a point and a tale of someone who just cannot let go, who has to win at all costs. Okay, no matter whose lives are affected, who's hurt, what's going on with that, even her very own. Okay, even to the very end. But that is returning of energy. A lot of people were still being targeted. I was still the target. My son was still the target. So was my counterpart. And any other individuals that, are resistant to certain things, or even if they're not resistant, for her, for karmics, it's like, even if they were to be together, the plan was always just to, because there's no love there, and people really get mixed obsession with love. Oh, they were so obsessed, they must have really loved me. No, that was control. And that was obsession. And I'm like, just, wow, man. So I'll get more into what that looks like for her once she did pass. But that was not her plan. That was the attention thing and the hopes, of being revived. Because if someone discovers you swallowed too many pills or something, the ambulance could come and pump you, even if you pass out. And so but it didn't happen like that, okay? And that's because my grandmother, you know, she was one of them that was there. And I want to say, she ended up facing Anubis. I'll talk to you guys about her conversation. It was a conversation between her and Anubis after the whole review. She had a whole review of everything, and they showed her. And I'll talk to you guys about that she had, because she actually was asking and begging, like, for, you know, she had promised to not lie anymore, to not do spell work, and to not interfere into all of this. So there was a dialogue between her and Anubis, and then after that, he just told her and said, and my grandmother was there. I want to say my son's father was there. My uncle Ronnie was there. Along with, you know, all of the others that was a part of that process. Like, no, you know, this, and this. Okay. So now let's to my mom. I haven't had a chance to do a reading on my mom yet. So I don't know how this has played out. I don't know if this is, you know, sometimes the energy jumps so fast, I can't always tell, and I'm still trying to learn how to balance that out. I don't know if this been happened, you know, since last night, or if this is something that's just now happening pertaining to my mother, okay? My mother had a heart attack, and she's also gone. And I asked this morning, I said, is this a result of my mom still doing spell work on me and my son? And they said, yes, this is why she died. Ironically enough, last night, as I was going through the house and getting ready for bed, and it was pretty late, I heard my son like say, hey, somebody's trying to choke me. And, or like, oh, it's choking. And something like that. I was like, really? And I went in there and I was like, oh, okay, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's like, but it went away. I was like, okay. And then I walked out of his room. I said, you know, spirit guides, light team. I said, if people, even after something as tragic as what happened with my sister, if they're still doing spell work and black magic, they're still sending that energy to try to kill me or my son or my counterpart or anything that's mine, I'm like, release the judgment, because enough of this. You still didn't learn your lesson after losing your child. You still don't learn your lesson. She knew what was going on, and it's like you're still at it. What else has to happen in your life for you to get a clue that cause and effect catches up with everyone? You will reap what you sow. You don't get to choose. And the reason why she had to watch her own daughter go is because she wanted to sacrifice me. See, in the narcissistic family, they always have a golden child that it's a toxic back and forth dynamic with them, but that they prize and adore and all of that. So I was the sacrifice, right? But she, you know, she was not well either. And I tried to tell people about this. Once again, no one believes me, but I'm okay with that. I had to become okay with it. Because again, it's this religion. You hear all these people talking about God. They're worshiping the devil. I will tell you guys about that someday. This religion, this man-made religion, and on the surface of things, it's like, no, how is that God? And if you have it in you, see, God is not, I don't want to get too far into that on here, but the whole point of what I'm making is people fall for it because they go to church and they got their post about God and how wonderful and how good God is, and you know the script, you know, they're good for all that. They got all of the bumper stickers and sayings and quotes and so forth, but in the background in their energy, how could you be so hateful though? See, and that's the whole point of what I'm making. People need to wake up. They're so stuck on all these conditionings and programs that we came here with, and all this, regurgitating all that in the Bible and the God, but empty and void and hateful and no love, but yet acting sweet and sugary and all this stuff. They're not well. She wasn't well. Okay, I was the sacrifice. She was one of the karmics in my life. Okay. And because I started standing up, what provoked a lot of this stuff is they didn't like that I started healing and awakening, because that's always going to expose them. This goes along with what I said yesterday or the other day. This is why the starseeds are targeted, because this is the reveal of what's been happening. They can't scapegoat the targeted one. They can't make the targeted one just go away and die and all of those things. So it's kind of going along with what I said. Once narcs are revealed or they're exposed, okay, that anger and that vengeance and retaliation goes full throttle. And that's what they did to me. It was because how dare you go on? How dare you live and shine and be happy? How dare you speak the truth? They don't like people speaking the truth. They can talk about you anyway. They can smear you. They can steal from you, lie on you, hunt you down, try to kill you. But they don't like you standing up and voicing your truth and calling them out on their shit and all of that. And so they gaslight and manipulate to make people feel bad and all of that, yada, yada. And when you stop caving to that, this is when they continue to want to retaliate. And that's exactly what my mother and sister was doing. They wanted to prove that I was of the devil and I didn't know what I was talking about. And they wanted to prove that they were more big and bad and powerful. And, so that's why they just kept doing it. Oh, I'm going to show her and we're going to this and we're going to that. And people don't understand that. You may think it's hidden from the other person, but you can't hide energy from God, source. I prefer to say source, creator, but it doesn't really matter. The one, the true love, creation, energy, spirit guides and ancestors, all of that, ascended masters, you can't hide. You can't hide. And what you put out, there is a cause and effect, especially if you're dealing with a divine. So they thought that they can control the destiny. They wanted my birthright and my destiny. This is why divine beings are always bounty hunted and scapegoated and targeted. And that was a dialogue that happened with my sister in Anubis, at her passing there. But my mom, in her being upset and still not well after what happened to my sister, she did a ritual to kill my son. And because she did a ritual to kill my son, she had a heart attack and died. You can't do that stuff. I hope karmics come on here at some point, for the ones that are redeemable, the ones that, are not that imbalanced and that far gone to where they can't stop doing that type of stuff. Because it's only cute and fun when you're on the higher side of it, when you're able to make people give you money or make people buy you things or do what you want. But the hard part about all of that is there's an effect, especially if there were warnings. And I just want to say, it wasn't that my mother or sister was not given sufficient time from source, the ancestors and spirit guides, to change and stop. They were given way more time and chances than, they really wanted to have. And graciousness, attempts to say, hey, listen, you all need to heal. We are trying to warn you and show you that this is ill-advised here. You can't steal what belongs to people. You can't run and hide and think that your life should be great and you're holding something, first and foremost, that you stole. And then you didn't even want to admit to all of this stuff. You're under judgment. You can't keep doing spell work on trying to get rid of people and think that, or to make people's minds be foggy, because that's what they do. My mother and sister would get in people's heads and play mind salad, word salad, trickery, manipulation. Then they do their brain work, and they were doing all that stuff for so long, projecting into people's dreams and thoughts to make them think and see and feel a certain way. That's dark. That's toxic. Entities had overtaken their lives a long time ago. And the reason is because they kept trying to kill me and my son, and they kept trying to resist. Every time ascended masters, Yeshua, the ancestors, and all of that would come to them to change, they didn't. Yet they did go to church, or they did all these quotes and talking about Jesus and but they don't know the real Yeshua. They never did. This is what I'm trying to say, because they were trying to help them to change. Like, stop this. You don't have to understand this in totality, but it's not even your business and concern to need to. But this behavior, what you're doing, this is toxic. This is devilish. It's not love. You're ill. There's something wrong. And they wanted to take all that out on me. They knew about the destiny between me and my counterpart. They had been doing work. I told you guys it was a strategy and a plan. My sister knew who I was before I did. And she knew about this journey, and she knew about the counterpart. So it was a target, and not because of, oh, so in love. It's a sickness. It's an obsession. Okay? And we're not to be having, I know how the rest are feeling. So that my human side is like, for the loss, right? But see, the whole target was, this was all supposed to be me and my son. Me and my son. They wanted me to commit suicide. They wanted me to die. They wanted me to lose everything. They wanted me to be looked upon as this mean, evil, wicked, crazy person. Right? They wanted my counterpart to just be like pick apart, somebody that feeds their needs, feeds their emotions and financial concerns. And then, literally suck him dry and then benefit one more time after he died. They didn't care. There's no love there. And so I had to say that for, like for my counterpart, it's like, he's going through, his own version of this, because they were my family, but he had a relationship with my sister. And, he had been entangled with my family, which he had been being warned for a long time to cut them all loose. And he suffered for not doing it, because he was, concerned about the kids, or I should say the grandkids, and he took it upon himself, and he was never supposed to do that. He was never supposed to do that. So he ended up hurting his own life and stagnating and things like that in more ways than one. And I just want to say, for divine feminines and masculines, if this is a similar story that you're going through, and then when this tragedy does happen, okay, deal with your emotions and feelings, but you keep those boundaries up. That is imperative. You have to. You have to keep the boundaries, especially if you know that you're dealing with people who they wished you dead. And that's something that I have to keep in mind. I keep asking and my guides and my grandmother, like, help me be strong, because this is what they wanted for me. This is what they've been doing. How dare you, as the grandmother of your grandson who you claim you love so much, after losing your firstborn due to her attempted suicide, knowing what you all were a part of, knowing what you were doing, period, the grandson, your first grandson that you claim you adore to the world, try to do a spell to kill him. It's time for people to wake up. And, for those of you who don't want to believe it, then I'm sorry for you, because you're going to probably have to go a long another route of hell in your life if you're connected to people like that. And I'm speaking about my family. And I'm speaking about anybody who does this stuff out of desperation just to survive, or out of anger and retaliation, thinking that it's not going to have some kind of effect on you. Nobody escapes this. You can't sit back and do this stuff and then, oh, you want their kid to be dead, your kid will die. Do we not understand that? You think you could just sit there and do spells and say, I want them dead, and send them, and I'm going to pay somebody to come kill them. And, do people even hear themselves? And then they look up and devastated when what's near and dear to them is dead. My son is near and dear to me. He is an earth angel as well. He didn't deserve none of this fucked up shit that he suffered behind my family. And neither did I. All that I had went through, I had never done that kind of stuff to them. And they went around acting like that's what I was doing. I went on with my life, no matter how hurt I was by them. But the moment truths were revealed and I knew and sensed and everything became clear, I was guided to speak my truth and stand ground. Because oftentimes, until you do that with people like that, you will just be in this endless repeated cycle. We have to stand up to bullies, and that's essentially who my family is. Bullies with Christian labels that secretly want their family dead, that practices black magic to kill them. And then it's so that people could look at the outside of the lives of those they're targeting and going, oh my gosh, why? It's happening because you're dealing with distorted spiritualists. They were warned, man. But they wanted to keep going up against me. They wanted to prove something. And for me, it was all about offense. Yes, you guys heard the veracity, but it was time for the veracity because they doubted me. They thought that I was weak. They thought that I wasn't who I was. They knew, but there was a part of them that felt like I doubted myself. But I'm long past who they remember me to be. Like any other human being, whether you guys want to admit this or not, I'm just like any other human. And any other human would be appalled and disgusted and infuriated at the understanding and knowing that someone is literally thinking they have a right to hurt you and your son or daughter, hurt your life without a penalty. Like anybody else, you would stand up for yourself. So would I. Like anyone else, if If somebody was trying to come to threaten you and take you out and do harm to you, you're not going to sit back quietly, and you're not going to be talking in soft monotones either. You're going to stand in your authority and make it clear. And when I did that, that challenged them, but it had to happen. And that's a lesson for everybody. Empaths, divines, you have a right to be bold and courageous and ferocious when it's warranted. Because otherwise, bullies, narcissists, dark spiritualists, dark, religious affiliates, and I want to say even if they're whatever they think they are, you guys will be surprised about that because they're next. People who feel like they have a right to get in groups and pray and speak and declare death on people, then death is coming to them. People who feel like they have a right to speak and declare, destructions and all this other stuff on people's lives under the guise of religion, they're getting it too. That is not source or love, light, creator energy. And there's penalties. No one has the right to do that. Offense, we have a right to defend. Yes, we have a right to defend. But no one has a right to stand up or go sit down and go to a spiritualist office or online or a church or wherever you want to call it. And in the fragmentation of your own soul, sit down and pick up a religion or a belief and think in that rationale and that conditioning and that program. I have a right to sit here and write and speak and determine someone else's life and destiny because of how I feel and what I think is truth when I am void of it. If I would have been spending my life on making my life healthy and whole and purposeful, no one has the time to sit there and worry about speaking and declaring some type of a death or destruction on someone else's life. It's time to wake up. That is not of love, whether you want to put it in a religious bubble or not. And people who keep doing that towards divines are coming down too. Because these people too are warned. To stop trying to troll and cyberstalk and bully. Stop trying to end someone because we're coming for you. Stop trying to end. People were told. Stop trying to steal. Stop trying to take. Stop trying to, we're going to bring them down. Okay, you're coming down. You don't believe it yet, but you are if you keep at this. We've already told you. That's that fear-based, narcissistic template, ego group control. And now is the time where things are starting to happen so people can see, yes, there is actually a penalty. There is none of us that will escape this. No matter how many practitioners we have called all over the world. Or secret societies, they're going down too. You don't get to pick apart and determine who should live and not. Harvest people's energies for your sickness and your lust and your greed. And then want to stand before the world in public and look like you're sweet, wonderful, and holy and successful. And that's not okay. It's not okay. The lives, the trail of blood of lives that have been affected. Also for people that were enablers and tongue biters and sat back and just watched this stuff and didn't do nothing. Because some people knew. Everybody's under that judgment. That just sit back and watch, didn't do nothing, didn't say nothing, didn't care. Just disregarded. But then when it's flipped and turned back on us, now all of a sudden we're like, and we're flabbergasted, we're upset. But when someone was doing all this to someone else and people knew it, no regard. Didn't care. Divine feminine and divine masculine, but then expect you to care. Do you see the distortion in that? It takes us a while to catch up and realize, like, but they didn't care. But then when something tragic happens, then now they want you to care. There's that feed again. No, this was destined. It is unfortunate. Yep, it is. This is a tragedy. Because guess what? It did not have to be. It didn't have to. But we can't control people. We can't control people. We can't make people heal. And we can't make people do the right thing. And we can't make people stop. We're not here to focus our lives on trying to make people heal and to make people stop. We're here to heal and live and move on and allow people to live according to their own will and to receive the consequences thereof, whether they are good or not. But we're not here for that. We're to be giving compassion to those who deserve it. What's twisted is, and this is what was sick about this dynamic, and this is why my guys was just highly pissed. Because they were trapping people to give them all this compassion, but nobody had no compassion on me and my son. None. Cowardly, hid, never said nothing, never gave me the truth. I had to heal and learn the truth on my own and to do my own investigations. That's how cowardly they were, and that's how fucked up a lot of this stuff was. And some people knew the truth and still sat back and did nothing. Because for some, there was a benefit for them. They're being judged for that too. It's a whole roster. I said that. There is a roster. Because the judgment was either this is made right and people stop their fuck shit, stop all this stuff, make some shit right, or all that's involved in that stuff they're paying. Nobody's going to get away. This was dishonorable, the things that they have done and continue to do to me, my son, my work, my counterpart. Worse yet, trying to keep everybody separate, trying to come between communication. That was one of the penalties that was heavy on my sister, that Anubis, at the last part of the process of what happens when you die. That last stage after their conversation. I'll tell you guys more about the conversation on a reading. But that was one of her main penalties for, interfering, lying, blocking the spell work. Like, it was all they did. They let her see it. They let her see it. And she was negotiating. She was trying to negotiate because she thought that she was just going to get revived. She didn't think that she was going to actually die. So she asked them, why was she dead? How come she could not just come back? And that's when they took her, through all of that. But we're to have compassion, collective, divine feminines, divine masculines. If you guys are going to see some type of a tragedy with karmics starting to die, Anybody that was involved in that kind of stuff and you knew there was some type of toxic dynamic and you knew there was some foul play and you knew it, and they just sat back and you knew it, no compassion. The compassion needs to be on the ones that have been assaulted, bullied, targeted, lied to, stolen from, scapegoated. That's balance. And it's kind of twisted and fucked up of how we have often lived in this life. And that's what narcissism is. And that's how narcissistic people operate. They attack the ones that was the target, the ones that was actually abused, the ones that was mistreated, the ones that was stolen from, all of this stuff. They throw all of that harshness and insensitivity and lack of care and concern, and then give all of the care and concern and compassion to narcissistic people who go around bullying, lying, stealing, wishing people dead, doing black magic. Something is sick and twisted about that. And then we wonder why. And now I also want to say, no one called me, collective. If you guys are wondering, oh, somebody must have reached out. They know she's on social media. Somebody either sent her a message, they called her, they emailed her, they put a comment on something on social media for her, they texted her, nope. None of these people. None of them. Even up to this moment, none of them. Okay? And I'm only saying, not that it's a big deal to me. I'm only saying that because in the 3D, they have all this appearance of like, oh, they're just regular, healthy, whole, balanced. Okay, we're fine, we're healing, we just pray for her and all of that. But yeah, nobody contacted me. Nobody. Up to this moment, still, nobody. See, all of this stuff is always under review because of the guilt, the fear, the shame, whatever it is. But nobody has contacted me. This is why there's such judgment hitting people. My counterpart hasn't either. That's the point that I'm making, collective. It's a twisted mind and a twisted world that focus so much time and attention on that kind of stuff. The very people that hurt and has destroyed so many lives. Sad. But the ones that deserve the honor, not given the proper honor. And the way this works, collective, is, and this needs to be understood, those who continue to dishonor you will suffer. There's no way out. Because things have been out of balance far too long. So if you're truly a divine feminine and masculine, and you're really, you come to the knowledge of some of these karmics passing, whether it's your karmic family members, friends, or whomever, and you're trying to get through this process, and they don't, nobody contacts you. That may even be best in some cases because you don't want to get entangled. But the point is, it's proving a point, isn't it? Justice must be served. You deserve the justice that you deserve. If people stole something from you, then you deserve the truth about it. You deserve to receive it. You deserve the honor. If people did black magic on you and hunting you down and trying to make your life hell, it was justice, because these people would have never stopped. You would have had to constantly be dealing with that shit. That's how obsessed they were. That's how unwell they were. So continue to do the right thing, divine feminine, divine masculine. And for anyone out there, that, unfortunately the children and all of that stuff. And see, that's the human side of us where it's like, wow, this was a tragedy. This was unfortunate, this loss. To these innocent lives that are in the family, to the innocent lives, the innocent children that are in the family and connected to these karmic situations here. Send them love and light, okay? I send love and light and condolences to, those that are left behind, okay, that were not karmic or that were not involved in, spell works or didn't have any knowledge of all of that, the kids that don't have any knowledge of all of that. So certainly when I'm speaking about the things that I'm addressing, I'm not talking about those family members or those children. I'm talking about all of the adult ones that did. I'm not talking about the ones that had no knowledge about it, didn't participate in it, you know what I'm saying? And then the children, they didn't know nothing. So love and light and condolences for them for their loss, because it's a loss for them. But the people that, grown MFers, that collaborated and they came together and they did that stuff and they know they did and they know somebody stole something, like, I have no compassion because they didn't have any on me. I have no compassion. They felt entitled to what's mine and then just sat back and hid and lied and denied. So I don't have compassion for grown people that willfully participated in that stuff against me and my son or knew about it. Okay? My family never gave me the honor of telling me about the connection between my sister and my counterpart. That's how dishonorable they are. None of them never said a thing to me. Okay? But they're so holy, right? We got to wake the fuck up. And they wondered why there was such ferocity. It was dishonorable how they did that. They collaborated. So, collective, likewise, you continue on and you heal and do your grief, whatever you have to do. But you keep them boundaries up. You pour that compassion into yourself and your children and your life, because you certainly wasn't receiving it for many of these people. And then for those that are left behind, the beautiful children and babies and the individuals that, had no knowledge and understanding of all this stuff, send them your heart, send them your love and light, send them, condolences and wishing them well, because they got to go through this grieving process. But other than that, you keep moving forward, you keep healing, and just know that justice will prevail in your life. People who are insistent on being dishonorable to you is going to start suffering more and more in ways they can't imagine, because you don't get to choose who you want to pick off and feel like they don't deserve to live. You don't get to steal and break boundaries and use people's information and not pay. So collective, just know that one way or the other, justice is prevailing and balance is being restored. And if this is you, this is unfortunate. It is a tragedy and it did not have to happen. And I'm sending you love and light, collective, hopefully to karmic energies out there that have not totally gone to the left. This is a warning call for them to learn how to stop being obsessive about other people's lives, other people's professions, other people's love lives, other people's blessings. Stop obsessing about other people and learn to redirect their energy back into themselves. To stop stealing, to stop lying, to stop calling themselves bounty hunting somebody, because it's not going to be the same anymore. Everybody is going to receive their just judgment for their conduct. This was a tragedy.